My name is Michael LaRose, and I am from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Dave Shanks from Saskatoon.
My name's Storm Knight. I'm from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Top Left project is a 2-year program funded by Women's Status of Canada.
Top Left is violence against women, and we look at trying to stop it and trying to improve it and spread the word that there's people out there for you, supporting you and being there for you if you need.
Yeah, we were approached almost 2 years ago now by Sharif, who had this really great idea about exploring violence in women's lives. But what really intrigued me about this was that it was specifically targeting young men and boys. So when he approached us about the project, I was thrilled, and
I connected really closely with that topic because I have lost my own mom to violence, and I've almost lost my own sister and my nephew because of violence, because males do not know how to respect females anymore, which is the main reason why I am here to this day, is because I want to fight for women's rights.
A couple times, a couple months ago, I used to be in an abusive relationship, so it showed me that I'm not alone and I have people there to support me.
it was an instant hit. Everybody in the community really rallied around the idea and the cause. I think especially because at that time, the idea of really taking a look at missing and murdered Aboriginal women in the community has kind of come to the forefront, and it was just starting to really percolate underneath the surface in the community at that time. So having a project that specifically targeted young men and boys' viewpoints on issues of violence, I think really struck or resonated with us at CNYC. So
We have made bowls in the past. We've made ashtrays, we've made candle holders.
We have meetings every Thursday and we try to get people to come as much as we can, but we're not going to force anybody to come, but we tell them we're there for them. We have fundraisers and stuff, and we have activities we do with people. We've gone to retreats before.
we did a retreat to kind of kick off what Top Left was and examine issues of violence. And so we took out, I think there's about 15 youth. We brought them out to this place called Ancient Spirals, which is this retreat house that overlooks the river, and it's out in the wilderness, and talked with them about issues of violence and their lives. And there was really this sense of bonding and coming together that happened after that, and really kind of cemented the group and cemented the future of Top Left at CNYC. And it was just such an amazing experience to have these kids share and open up about how normalized violence was in their lives and how everyday and common it was.
It helped me realize that I might live in Saskatchewan, but all around Canada, everyone's very happy. They're very like-minded. They all think the same way as I did, and I honestly didn't think a lot of people thought that way anymore, the way I was brought up. And I'm glad that I have a family now.
Top Left kind of evolved into a little bit more of a support group and a sharing system for the youth. And so they felt comfortable opening up and sharing about past experiences and really personal, deep stuff that they probably hadn't shared with anyone before. So, yeah.
It's just made me keep my chin up and able to keep going and not feel like I'm not worth it, and that I have people there for me when I need them.
Now I'm a leader at CNYC. A lot of the kids follow me because of the stance that I'm trying to make and fighting for rights, and that's what I kind of found out too, is if the youth have a leader that they can relate to, they'll try and walk in those footsteps to make a better future for the younger youth.
Just a different setting. I used to hang out with like abusive people and not happy people and angry people, and now that's all I hang out with is happy people and just a better aura and setting for me.
I've learned a lot about how normalized violence is as a way of solving conflict with specifically the youth that I work with in Saskatoon. A lot of them, a lot of feedback that I've got from the youth is that they have to be violent, they have to use violence. Violence is basically they have to always have that attitude and that walk and show that they're tough, show that things don't hurt them, that things don't faze them. Otherwise, they become victims of violence themselves. So they're almost having to project these like ultra-violent personas in order to protect themselves in the community, even if they don't always feel that way themselves. So
I was raised by women, but at the same time, when I was brought up in Saskatoon, a lot of those morals kind of went out the window. So I started slipping, and I've never hit a woman before, but I have verbally assaulted, if you would say, a few women before, and that's because that was the anger that got the best of me, and I didn't know better. But now, being a part of Top Left, I know a trillion times more than I did back in the day. I know how to talk to them. I know how to calm myself down if I get angry. I know how to make them feel special. And it's a wonderful experience.
one thing that I'm definitely going to take forward is to definitely examine gender boxes and masculinity and ideas of stereotypes around gender and stuff like that, in kind of try to have that infiltrate and filter through all the programs at CNYC, which is the Core Neighborhood Youth Co-op. So things like always examining why you're acting a certain way, and not just based on your past, but maybe based on where those gender boxes are and how you've been pushed into it, and how those are always a ways of control and a ways of taking away power and putting power into different places. So
You shouldn't have to hide your identity because of the way you love seeing life, because you're like, hey, I don't like being in these binary boxes. I don't like being a female because of whatever, and I don't like being a male because of reasons. I think I'm just going to be myself. And then a lot of people, well, society actually disagrees with a lot of that, with trying to get out of those binary boxes, trying to get out of society's grasp, if you want to call it. And then people get called down and judgmental, and they lose their own sense of identity, which is really sad. A lot of the people that are judged in Saskatoon about being gay or about being a lesbian or about being transgender or just cross-dressing for that matter get judged quite a bit, and then they have to have meetings behind closed doors. They have to have get-togethers behind closed doors. They have to seclude themselves from society, and I don't want that. I want to take my experience from this program, and I want to open up Saskatoon, and I don't want Saskatoon to be so judgmental towards innocent human beings, because we're all innocent.
there's a lot of expertise and there's a lot of really good opinions about ending violence, and especially coming from young men and boys, and I think they often get led out of the discussions or left out of the discussions. And so I think it's really important and key that they're incorporated into these discussions in the future.
I eventually want to keep Top Left around. I know it's only a few years program, but a topic like that should be expressed more often. A topic like that, like women are the givers of life, and without women, a lot of us males would never be here without women. I guess you won't be able to really know what I feel and what I see on a daily basis until you actually join Top Left, until you actually come to these conferences, until you actually get a feel for it, until you see how free people can be in these conferences. Like, last year it blew my mind how many people just wore whatever they wanted. They acted however they wanted. They did what they wanted to do because it was in a safe environment conference. And I think people need to see that and to see how happy people can be if they feel safe, not feel like they're going to get judged because they wanted to wear ladies' clothes, or they wanted to wear men clothes, or they just want to wear a vampire outfit all day if they wanted. I heard I heard when we're all in the womb, we all are females at the beginning of life. But then as soon as we process and as soon as we get older in the womb, that's when that's when our identities are actually there when we're born. But at the same time, at the beginning of life, you're one person. You're not a female or a male. And just because you're out of that womb, you should be able to still be a female or a male.
Violence isn't the way, you know? There's many ways you can look at things. You don't always have to hit someone for them to understand.
How brought this top left to life, I don't think any of us would be here.